Okay, so we're going to be calculating the discriminant. So it's really important to understand the role of the discriminant because we use it all of the time. It's just a lot of the time we don't think about it, so it's just like a handy fact to have. Now, the formula for the discriminant comes from the quadratic formula as well, which is why it's a really important one to remember. So the discriminant is this part under here that I've highlighted in yellow. So b squared minus 4ac. Now, let's think about what happens if, let's say, b squared minus 4ac equals 0. Okay, now I told you guys last time that this first part tells you where the center of the graph is. So it would tell you this coordinate here where the middle of the graph is. What the discriminant will do, let's move that for a second. If the discriminant's 0, then you're only left with this front part, which means that the root that you would get for this equation is only going to be this one point here. You would say that it has one point where it's touching. So if this is equal to 0, then you have 1 point touching. If this is a negative number, or let's say that it is less than 0, so the little one eats the big one less than 0, meaning that it's a negative number, then I would get a math error here. Okay, it would tell me that this has got an error, it's not touching at all. So for my discriminant, that would mean that it's hanging about somewhere in the sky like that or like that. So it's not going to touch that axis at all. If it's positive though, that's when we end up with our standard thing where we have two solutions. Okay, because obviously then you've got something to add or subtract to this front part, meaning that if I have a function that looks like this, let's say that's the middle of the function, that would be the b squared over 2a. If I add on a difference, that's the plus this section here, b squared minus 4ac over 2a, or square rooted, and this would be the minus section. So you end up with two solutions. That's how the discriminant works. Okay, so we're going to test our discriminant first so that we can determine how many solutions there will be or how many times these functions will touch. Okay, so we're going to do our function from last time. So y equals minus 3 x squared minus 5x plus 2. We're going to state what each thing is first. So a is the thing in front of x squared, b is the thing in front of x, and c is the thing on the end all by itself. Remember, these are assigned based on these, not based on the order they're in. Okay, so now I'm going to substitute these into the discriminant. So first I'm going to state my formula, b squared minus 4ac equals, now I'm going to fill it in with my brackets to make sure funny things don't happen. Then I'm going to simplify what I've got. So 5 squared is 25. Then if I do 2 times negative 3, that makes negative 6. So negative 6 times negative 4 is going to give me positive 24. Okay, so that gives me a score of 49. So this thing is positive. So two solutions. Okay, and then just to help you figure it out, draw a little picture of what that looks like. So if it was two solutions, I'd draw it to look like this. If it was one solution, I'd draw it to look like that. If it was no solutions, I'd draw it to look something like this. Okay, now I'd like you to calculate the discriminant for all of these ones shown here to the side.